G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. Today we're talking about the Thursday night games. We're talking about captains. We're talking trade targets, answering your questions. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Hoisted the goal from inside the 10. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty. Kenny. Petrarca. Oh, wow. How good is that? The legend becomes immortal.
Transitions back, bro. G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy. Joined again by the Dawson-less Luke Rogerson.
There's a shambles up in here, mate. I almost forgot to put my headphones on, then I couldn't get the bloody transition working.
Yeah,
so.
we were going to be a black screen for a little bit.
Mate, the other thing too is school holidays are meant to be a relaxing time. And these school holidays have been nothing but relaxing. I've got a zit with its own postcode on my face from the stress and anxiety that I've been going through. And then last night didn't help at all. So,
yeah, so obviously...
absolute shit show.
We'll start off by reviewing the Thursday night footy game, and I've got now a little run sheet here. Jordan Dawson for the Brownlow, question mark.
I can't see that in the run sheet. What's going on?
He looked amazing.
He's a good footy player.
Carlton let him run free and do his thing. What did he have? 90... Surely you've committed this to memory.
Yeah, it was mid-90s at
94
halftime.
at halftime. Just went absolutely crazy. Probably lucky in the end to only have scored 133, which is kind of crazy to say.
I had a bit of a headache before that game began. And fair to say it turned into a migraine by the end of it. But I went to bed at 3/4 time because I just couldn't stand watching. And it sounds weird to say, but when I woke up and saw 133, I thought it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. 94
really
at halftime, and it was an absolute bloodbath. He looks really good. Like, he genuinely looks like his kick is amazing.
Yeah.
The penetration on his kick, like, he's tough as well. He's tall. He can take overhead marks. He can tackle. So really like what I'm seeing from Jordan Dawson. So if you got on him from a Doherty trade, congratulations. If you didn't get on him, like yourself, Luke, don't stress. It's all good. It's 1 week. They wasn't tagged this round, but next round he could very well come up against the elusive McGuinness tag, which we actually haven't really seen much this season, although we all panicked about it in the preseason. But he could come up against that next week, and 1 round of data, it could get better. I'm trying to cheer you up.
No. I mean, I'm on Dacos finally,
yes.
So I'm hoping that there's some positive stuff coming at the end of the round. But like I've said publicly, the minute I trade Dacos in, there's a strong chance that he goes.
You've
poorly.
all been warned. Dacos.
So my apology to the current Dacos owners because
he's
could go bad.
He's coming into the odds longs. The other next guy we'll talk about here is Rory Laird. Is he back? 118 points, I think, off the top of my head.
Again, could have been more.
Could have been more again.
Yeah.
Had a big first half. Gave away a few free kicks against, I think, in like the third or fourth quarter.
You were cheering for those?
Yes, I was very up and about when those were called against him. But 118 points. I will say there's been like an excuse for each of his poor scores so far this season. First round, the heat, and Well, it's getting cooler, so obviously, hopefully, you don't have to worry about that one.
Yep.
The second round, he went big against the Tigers. I think that was correct. Third round went against Port Adelaide, one of the toughest matchups in the game.
Yep.
Scored an 84. Look, it's a low score, but it's toughest matchup. It's if that's going to be your lowest score, that's all right.
Yeah.
And then gets tagged by Aish the week before. Clamps him pretty much in the first half. So was on a low score, built it back up to an 84 again, and then obviously he's gone 118 here. So I think that there's nothing too much to worry about with the Rory Laird. He might not be that 120 guy, but I think that he will be a 110 plus mid and one of the best top 8 guys in there. So I think he's going to be a good buy soon.
There's no question he's gone, and like you said, that's the thing that we're all looking out for. The guys who don't have him is to potentially jump on in the next couple of weeks. I think his
break even was 143, so he's still going to lose cash.
Yeah, so I think he could be in the sights certainly in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I think he is definitely someone. If you have him, our advice after the last few games has just been to hold fat, because definitely as a non-owner, I'm looking to get him in. So you might as well just have him in your side, keep him there. Don't give yourself the headache of having to try to get him back in. What were your thoughts on Sam Walsh in what you saw? Obviously, he's a guy that we all were looking at in the preseason until his injury. First game back. Picks up, in my opinion, where he left off. I think he had 104 off the top of my head. I think he led the team in disposals as well.
So we were sitting there hoping that Walsh potentially wouldn't go 100 plus.
I was hoping he might be managed. He had 76% time on ground. You'd expect that to go up a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think so too, but it would be nice if he maybe went mid-80s or something like that. The price could drop down and then we could jump on him. So I think he's one to watch in the next couple of weeks, but you're right in saying he was already reasonably expensive going into the season anyway.
Yeah. So obviously he, at the season start, the way the pricing mechanism works, it's a little bit, his price stat figure is a little bit more reasonable, whereas now because the magic number has changed, he's now priced at quite high. What is he? 916,000. So he is up there. I still think that he's someone that we need to be keeping an eye on. If he was healthy to start the season, he's very likely someone I would have started with in my starting squad. I just think he's a gun player. He does the things that I really like players to do, runs hard, tackles hard, goes about it the right way.
Yep.
So I definitely think that he is someone I'm keeping an eye on, and hopefully, just has a few, maybe, a couple tag games, something like that, just to cheapen his price over the next couple of weeks, and we can get on him sooner rather than later.
How about the Crows, mate? Real deal or not?
I think they are definitely at least a top 8 real deal.
Yeah.
I really like what they've done with their midfield. I think throwing a Jordan Dawson in there, we'll talk about this guy in a second, but throwing the likes of like a Rochelle in there, I think it just gives them a completely new pace, and it's what they needed compared to the last couple of seasons where they were very much a repeat stoppage, slow the ball down kind of a team, and I think this makes them threatening because they've got good forwards.
Yeah.
They've got guys that can damage you a lot in the forward line. I think that this gives them the best opportunity to utilise that.
Yeah, they've put some speed in there, haven't they? And it sort of follows the likes of those teams that have guys that can explode from the stoppage. Shea Bolton for Richmond, Petrarca's, these kind of guys. And they've added Rochelle and now Dawson in there. So they look pretty good. So if you're a Crows fan, Bales would have been bloody frothing last night.
Oh, he would have loved it. Yeah, and
Laird
what a start to
good.
the gather round too. They just come out, smack the Blues.
Good on him, mate.
Good start for Adelaide. Speaking of those guys running through the midfield there, Rochelle. He's someone that's kind of slipped under the radar a little bit here, and I think it's time.
Are you talking from a fantasy perspective?
Yeah, I'm talking from a fantasy perspective.
I still don't know. I had a look at that today, and I'm not convinced.
He is someone who I was looking at his stats recently. So he's scored 105, 85, 75, 86, 96. So lowest score of 75 against Port Adelaide.
But the problem is, what's he priced at now?
So he's priced at, if I just bring up my little chart here, he is priced at 72 at the moment.
Okay.
He will go up probably closer to that sort of 75, 76 mark. What do we think he can do moving forward? Is he maybe a guy that if you can't quite get too high, is he an upgrade in our forward line? Like, what do we expect him to average from here on out? He's been getting centre bounce attendance. He was like 59%, I think, from memory.
Yeah, if he stays
yesterday.
in that role, he's going to average more than, 72. So my sort of guess would be around mid-80s. He's still a young player, remember that as well.
Year.
So as the season goes on, I expect younger players to tire a little bit. So I wouldn't be going and looking at like a mid-90s to 100 range, but I'd be still probably looking around that 85. What's Cozzy Pickett? Is he priced similarly, or is he a little bit less?
Let me have a look. Cozzy Pickett is a little bit less.
Yeah, okay. Because I'll be watching him closely this week just to look at that role. And I mean, the reason I bring him up is because he's sort of similar to.
Yeah, so Cozzy Pickett is 592 at the start of this round, and Rochelle was. What was he? 621. So 30k more.
Okay.
I personally would rather a Rochelle than a Cozzy Pickett. I just think that Rochelle he's obviously. In my eyes, he's probably more midfielder forward, whereas Pickett is more forward mid, if that makes sense. Like he's forward first and just kind of goes in the mid for a little bit of a switch up. Whereas I think Rochelle, especially with the success that Adelaide have seen the last couple of weeks, I think that he's going to be in there. The only flag I want to put out there for Rochelle is Berry has been out of the side the last couple of weeks, and when he comes back in, or I don't know, maybe if he comes back in, I mean, I think he would be back in their side. How does that affect a player like Rochelle and his usage through the middle? Something to to keep an eye on. But I think that he's someone that has definitely flown on the radar and probably does deserve at least a little bit of conversation.
Jeez, we've spent half the podcast talking about last night's game.
Yeah, well, it was an exciting game. Last little dot point here. Lockie Cowan, Oliver Hollands, and who's
Cyclist.
And the cyclist.
So you're talking about?
Yeah. All sub 50 scores.
The cyclist got a flat or something, I think. He 32
35 at quarter time. Next two quarters, -3.
That's the definition of getting a flat.
Yeah, he went backwards. Spent all the time having to pump his tyres back up to get a few little points in the last quarter there. But is especially the Lockie Cowan one. So he's gone sub 40. Some people who are hoping to hold day. Do you think that sub 40 score is enough to kind of scare you and maybe look to trade him?
If you were having to field that.
Yeah, if you're deciding whether or not you want to loop that on.
If I was having to field that, I'd probably trade day.
Yeah, it probably
now that it's 2 weeks as well.
More that
but
direction.
It depends. There's a little bit of an issue now in the fact that one of the trade targets for day was Dawson. And Dawson's now gone. So it sort of depends where you're looking to go.
I hope a lot of people, if they were looking at Dawson and they were seriously considering him, they would have gone Doherty to Dawson because at least that's something you can do in one trade. Yeah. You make money. So I think that's hopefully where people went. But yeah, just excuse me, Siri, you can shut up now. But yeah, I think that was interesting. Obviously, hopefully a lot of you looped that one. But yeah, it's not one I would want to be getting onto my ground. But let's move on to some...
Should we talk trade targets?
Trade targets.
Let's do it.
So, probably not the biggest week for downgrades because of the carnage going around, but we'll just go through a few of the options that I think are coming up. The number one option I think that is probably going to be in a lot of people's thoughts is Corey Wagner.
Swagner.
Swagner, I like
C.
that.
Wagner. Swagner.
Yeah,
you reckon we can get that running?
Swagner.
Mature age.
Yes, so plays for the Dockers. He's, 26, I think?
Yeah, he's played at North and at Melbourne. He went 71 off the top of my head at Peel last week. A stat line with no tackles.
Okay.
Was what I saw. So correct me if I'm wrong there. But
so he gets a lot of the ball.
Yes, there's a little bit like more of an outside player, I'd say. I'll be interested to see what Freo see him as.
Yeah, so I think he was recruited as like a wing kind of type to replace... who's the guy that went to the Blues?
Akers, was it?
Yeah, Akers. I think he was like recruited to be like an Akers kind of replacement type. I think from memory he had like an injury in the preseason or something like that, which sort of put him behind the pace. But
he's not a 200k one either, is he?
He's 285, so he's got a little bit of price on there. But a lot of people are asking the question: can you field if you trade him in? Can you field him in an attempt to try and hold day? I'm hesitant to do that. I think
first game is a tough one there. It's if you'd seen a couple of games and you felt pretty confident in the scoring, but then this scenario doesn't exist. But you know what I mean. It would be tough to go, hey, look, I'm bringing a guy in as cover. He's a rookie. This is his first game for Freo.
Yeah,
it would be ballsy, but if it came off, it'd be good.
Yeah, I can't say no to it. I just don't, it's not something I would do because I think in a lot of scenarios, especially if you have the 2 force trades. If you're doing that option, you're going to probably be banking a lot of cash. Yeah. You're going to have like 400, 500, 600k in your bank. I think that's too much to be holding on. Yep. It feels like you're leaving points out there. And the fact that he is 285k, I think his break even's like 35 or something like that. So you're going to get a free look at him if you don't trade into him. So he's not going to go up a lot of money in the first week. Yep. If he scores well, then his break even's going to come down, and then you can jump on. And if he's going to be a guy that we can have on our field, but. So for me, I personally say no to trading him in as a way to hold day. Yep. But it could work out, I guess, if you're willing to take it on. The other
second fella
downgrade targets. I'll just fly through these ones. I've got Ned Moyle at number 2.
Molly.
Have you seen a good one? Yeah, you have. Just Wits. He's out the second week in a row. And
Molly's going to get murdered by Darcy.
He will. It's a very tough matchup.
He had 35 hitouts in his 70-odd last week, and he's not
tackles well, but...
It's not going to go close to 35
It's
hitouts.
supposed to be... it potentially might be wet as well. I don't know if that helps or hurts him. But the thing I've put him here at number 2 is that what's going on with Wits? You don't miss 2 weeks with soreness where you're the captain of the team and like the only ruckman that's like... And I think they said something was about a back issue or something like that.
It seems like there's some underlying stuff there. There's some stuff we're not being told.
I'm a bit sus on it.
Yeah, but I think anyone who had Wits is now if they didn't get off last week, they're now off, I would hope.
Yeah, yeah. Would you be fielding a Moyle and like
can't think of it. Mully.
Would you be fielding a Moyle over like one of those other rookies, for example, or would you be going just straight to English if you had the wits and you happened to hold last week?
English, I'm just whatever it takes.
I'm the same. I think English is like top one priority in terms of if you need to get someone in. Last few guys, Samson Ryan. I don't think he's going to be like the sole ruck or anything like that. We saw our mate come in, Miller come in. I think they're going to sort of halve that responsibility. Sam Sturt, Basin Price, Freo guy, forward/wing type. I think
75
he could be
at Peel.
good. Yeah,
75 at Peel and a diversified stat line. So 4 tackles, 5 marks, just somewhere in that vicinity. So it looks like a couple of goals too.
He's someone that I think, is it his second year or something like that? Not quite, super young, but someone in there. And then Matty Roberts finally getting a full game. He's not
you
the
reckon
sub,
he'll get subbed on the reverse end?
You're
not starting at the sub, young fella.
Yeah,
you're finishing.
You're not starting on the bench. You're just ending up there.
Poor bastard.
So I hope for his sake that he is not going to be subbed out at any point. But again, his break even is 47. So you're going to get an absolute, basically free look at him. He's not going to go up much in cash, so I wouldn't be bringing him this week, but he does have the ability to score decently. So those are sort of my downgrade targets, but I think a lot of us are going to be looking at the defenders here.
So now we're looking at upgrade targets. We've got a couple of defenders, and we spoke a little bit about these guys on our emergency podcast.
So we'll fly through these a little bit quicker, but number one for me is Tom Stewart, and again, I made this list before last night, so not too much hindsight involved here, but Tom Stewart I had ranked at number one just because of the value. And I think that based on his price, based on what I expect him to do, I think he's probably about 10 points unders. So I think for me, that makes him number one. Number two, Nick Dacos.
Guaranteed to go shit this week.
Guaranteed to go shit.
I'll put my guaranteed stamp on it.
Well, we've got a new segment that we might touch on that a little bit later, but he's a very interesting one. Number three is where I had Jordan Dawson, so I had a pretty clear top three. Obviously,
we spoke a lot about Dawson.
With hindsight, if I'd known to go 133, then I probably would have put him right up the order.
Yeah, how good's hindsight?
But he's obviously a gun option. And number four, if we talked about that scenario where if you already had Stewart and you had Doherty and Day and you didn't have any cash, I think that the two guys that you could probably get to would be a Rioli or a Mason Redman. And I think that of all those cheap kind of guys, I don't mind either of those. Do you have a preference between Rioli or Redman? Or
my preference is Rioli.
Yeah?
Just because he's
a Tiger. I think that there's an outside chance. I don't think it's likely, but there's an outside chance that Rioli is like the Sinclair potentially of this year, where he looks really good. He's probably one of our better players.
Yeah, he does. Do you think now that Shorty's kind of transitioned away from the back line, it's obviously Bakes back there, it's Rioli back there, and
I don't think Short comes back in and takes that role off Dan Rioli.
Doesn't seem that way.
I think he's going to be. He might be one of the few in the back line, or maybe he's up on a wing or something like that. I think there's more where Richmond want him. So I think it's Rioli's role.
Yeah.
I just question on his price at 90. I think can he go more than 95? Yeah. I don't think so, but on the off chance that we're wrong and he can hold this 100 average that he's doing so far, I think he's all right. Redmond is also an interesting one, but again, it's a similar story with some of those other, Bombers guys where there's just a lot of mouths to feed. But he's had 3 tons out of 4 games so far, so he is definitely a unique option you could consider.
Now, upgrade targets in the mid. If you're looking to upgrade in the midfield this week, then you're in a luxurious position because everyone else is...
you've got Bailey Smith.
Well, true. You want to talk about that? Yeah,
so if you've got Bailey Smith, you might be looking at some upgrade targets here, so which is me, although I think I'm going to be going to defence. But number one target here in the mids, I've got Noah Anderson. I really like... Well, I had my eye on him. I'm annoyed that he had the 150 last week.
Of course you did, Mitch. Of course you did.
Hey, I mentioned him in the podcast. But I really love the run coming up for the Gold Coast Suns. So he is my number one target. Josh Kelly is number 2. I still think his value hasn't moved up a whole lot since last week. LDU, I think, is still value. And he has 91 last week, but... excuse me. Did that with a tag for, I think... half or 3/4 of the game. Yeah. So came off to a flyer. I think he's going to go well. Oh, jeez, I'm sneezing everywhere.
You're right.
And then I've got Tuka Miller, as in he's just a little bit more expensive than an Anderson.
Yeah, but like you said, the Suns have got a good run coming up.
The thing that pushes Tuka Miller a little bit down the list for me is the fact that he could get the H tag this week, or they might not tag. I don't know. It didn't work for Freo last week, so they might not
I
choose to do it.
I feel like we've been talking, and not just us, lots of different podcasts talking about the tag. But at some point, do you
the hell were related to 84, so...
But at some point, do you just have to go, like, I guess maybe it's the week you trade him in, maybe you look at it, but at some point you just have to go, hey, I'm picking this guy as a long-term option.
Look, if you've got the money and you can get Took Miller, I think it's a great target. Like, I honestly think that he could have a massive stretch here leading up to the buys. Yeah. Plus, with Anderson and Took Miller, their buy round is obviously the same buy round as Geelong, which is that unique round 13. So that's a really good thing to lock away now at this stage. And then my last one for the really cheap guy, if you really scrounge around for some coin, Chad Warner is the guy that I'd probably be going as my targets there.
Would you trade in Chad Warner? If you were in that situation, would you trade him in, but would you actually put your money where your mouth is?
I'd be wanting to go into defence first. Like, I'd probably rather tick off a Tom Stewart first.
Yeah.
If you already had a Tom Stewart and you couldn't get anything more than 800k, then Chad would be the guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think for the most part, most people with that kind of cash strap, Tom Stewart's probably the better option.
What about Ruckman for upgrade targets this week?
Ruck's is Tim English. I think it's Tim English, and it ends at Tim English. If you
didn't have Marshall.
Yeah, I think Rowan Marshall, if you don't have him, he's going to have a great round this week. Most of us do have him. I then have Sean Darcy and Brody Grundy. Gorn's coming back soon. Yeah. I don't think you're jumping on him now. It's a bit too late. But
get Tim English is basically the message. If you don't, get him.
Absolutely.
Get him.
Not many people are trading in forwards, but Connor Rosie is still cheap.
Yeah.
I still think some people might have been scared away by his poor scores, but his role is there.
Jack
Zeeble, some people I've seen trading him in. I still think he is value enough. Might be wet this weekend, which might not be the best for Zeeble, but I think
he's been waxing recently, hey.
He's going to be doing well. And then Keziah Pickett, I've got number 3. I still am not 100% sold.
Pickett.
He's probably, of the mid prices, maybe the one that I would consider. All right.
Should we talk big boys?
Yeah, let's do it.
You got your thingo queued
I've got
up?
my button here, yeah. You transition
3,
across.
2, 1, boom.
I feel like this is 2 weeks in a row that I've got a player that I haven't put on my list who's gone big on the Thursday night. So last time I didn't have Dacos, he goes 126. This year I didn't have Dawson on the list, and he's gone 133. So,
and I think you even put in the note on Twitter, like, don't consider Dawson.
Far out, man. Like,
he could have been even worse, mate. He had 90
Carlton
at half time.
Poor matchup. Like, I thought for any money they go and tag him. And
he's
again, we get spooked by tags, maybe too much. But
he is a beast.
If you VC'd him, good on you. It was a good call.
Did I tell you as well? So not only did I not bring in Dawson, but the person I'm playing in the Content Creators Cup not only has Dawson, but put the VC on him as well. So chalk up another bloody loss for the Ox.
Talking about Bales the buy, where's...
I'll be the buy.
Yeah,
I'm the new buy. That's why I've changed my name to Mike Oxshort.
Is it actually still Mike Oxshort in there?
Yeah. Oh, that was a long-term change, mate. I wasn't fucking around. I
completely forgot about
Until
that
I win a game, it's Mike Oxshort.
I thought you turned the difficulty down, mate. What happened? Now everyone got dropped and injured when you turned the difficulty down.
I've revealed it to everyone else. Now everyone else has turned the difficulty down as well. And so it's just, it's a shit show.
Beginner is the new advanced.
Must be.
All right, so number 1, Ball Boys Big Boy, number 1 captain option for me this week is the guy that we were saying you need to get in if you had an injured ruck. It is Tim English versus Port Adelaide. He's coming off a 145.
That's a good matchup too for rucks, isn't it?
It is. So Scott Lysette is no behemoth in the ruck division, and Tim English has already put up some huge scores so far this year.
In a game where English can get hit outs as well, it's just chalk it up, isn't it? Because he gets ball around the ground, he tackles at stoppage, he's
So he scored 115 against Max Gawn and Brody Grundy when they're playing together. He scored 117 against Rowan Marshall. He scored 111 against a restrictive Oscar McInerney.
Yeah.
And then the first game where he's had, and Nank is no scrub either, but Nank, he's gone 145 in the wet. So he's actually, it's like his first easy matchup for the year.
It's insane.
And he's already averaging 122 points. So for me, he is absolutely the number 1.
Well, the best part about him this week as well is that you're likely going to be able to put the VC on.
He's my VC this week because we will have the last game of the round. We've got St Kilda, and a lot of people running out there with Max Heath can loop him with anybody. So you get a free hit at a Tim English. Number 2 for me is the Clayton Oliver, number 1 averaging player in the game up against Essendon. I reckon Will Setterfield's going to run next to him. Not maybe a hard tag, but
you reckon the Settergoat's going to be reduced to a Misley tagger.
So, not a tagger, but like a defensive kind of a role. Like someone...
Just at stoppage,
Just at stoppage, yeah. Like just stands next to him, the big body kind of thing.
I don't think it'll stop him. And you obviously don't either. He's number 2 on the big boys.
It's,
You're justifying why
I'm flipping a coin between 1 and 2, but Tim English is averaging 122. Like it's not like he's chump change. So they're very close to each other. Number 3, Andrew Brayshaw versus the Gold Coast Suns. Tied top or easiest team to score against in midfield is Gold Coast. It potentially might be wet, and Brayshaw should go big there. And number 4 is where I'm going to be. If Tim English fails, I'll be going Rowan Marshall against a ruckless Collingwood. So it's the big round for the Rucks.
Ross Lyon will go, jokes,
yeah,
sub. See ya.
Well, see, the thing is with that, I can't imagine... The game's going to be closer.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. He's not going to get subbed against Collingwood. And I don't think he'd do it 2 weeks in a row either.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, he's fresh. Come on. And the sub last week might help him this week.
It may do. Would you be nervous watching your captain last game on Sunday, or would you like that kind of feeling if English flops?
The only reason I'd be nervous is because it's a run. No. I feel pretty confident about it. Yeah, I think he'll go good. So.
Yeah. And like we said, Collingwood don't have a ruckman in there at the moment.
Who are they doing? So I think he'll go big.
Okay, Marshall at 4. Who's at 5?
I'll push through these next few. Josh Kelly against Hawthorn again. That McGuinness tag.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but if he doesn't get tagged, he could go big. I don't even know if they'll go to him if they are tagging. Maybe they go for a Whitfield or one of those guys off half back. Not sure. Sean Darcy, the 3rd ruck on this list.
He's going to have a million hit outs.
He's going to dominate. He's going to smash him. He'd be higher if I could guarantee that he was rocking out. But if he was
rocking out, dude.
If he was rucking solo for the whole time, there's a small flag that because he's dominating and Rowan Marshall got subbed out at 3/4 time. Maybe he spends a quarter or a half playing full forward, and they put Luke Jackson in there. If they're pacing him. So there's a little bit of a flag there. So I'd ideally be wanting to VCing him if I could. Rory Laird, I had at number 7. Obviously, if you VC'd him last night, I would take 118.
Yep, for sure.
This is where I have Nick Dacos, and I really did not know where to put Nick Dacos.
Well, there's conflicting thoughts, isn't there? Because if you have a look at the data, Saints apparently number 1 easiest team for defenders to score against. Yeah. But then all the talk is, does he get tagged?
Ross Lyon's going to tag him, yeah.
How the fuck do you make a choice?
If he gets tagged, and we've seen him been tagged before when he's gone 120. So
we've also seen him get tagged at the pre-season. But I mean, pre-season, what do you read?
They weren't really
working
moving the magnets around. Yeah. So
this is the thing with him, and this is why I think he's such a good player as well. Let's say he gets tagged, he goes and takes 2 or 3 kick-outs, and then when he gets a kick-out, we always know he gets the next possession. And then let's say he's getting locked up on half-back. Sorry, Pendles, you just duck back there. I'll jump into midfield for a little bit, a couple of tackles, and get a few cute ones. Like, he's just...
his endurance, his ability to run, he just leaves people in the dust. So I think that there's a little flag there. I don't think many people will go there, or I'm not recommending many people go there.
If you could VC him,
you've got Marshall in the same game. Most people have Rowan Marshall. I would go there every day of the week.
Yep.
But I just wanted him to be on the list. I left him off last week.
Well, I'm surprised Sheasel's not on here, mate. What does Sheasel have to do to get on your list?
I tried to put him in here, but there's a lot of good matchups this week. Josh Dunkley against North. Apparently, it's supposed to be very wet, that game. And then Timmy T.
Sheasel's average shits all over Josh Dunkley's.
I know it does. Tim Taranto versus Sydney again. And his average is close to Sheasel as well. Sheasel is an honourable mention, but in the rain, in the wet, he's still a first-year player playing his 5th game. Look, I tried to put him in there. I had him at 10 for a little while, but just bumped him out. I don't think I can do it just yet. There's a lot of other good options, though. So Caleb Sarong, I like his matchup. Tom Green, I like as well against Hawthorn. Petrarca, Merritt, and Parrish all have good matchups as well. If Tuke doesn't get tagged, I think he can be massive as well. So I think there's a lot of good options there. So I couldn't fit more than top 10, but I think there are plenty of good captain options this week.
No, hopefully we've got some good captaincy.
But I'll be going Tim English into Rowan Marshall.
And I think I'll be a copycat and probably go there.
Yeah, big round for Rucks, I reckon.
Yep,
it's a good targets.
Absolutely. Now, should we jump into some spicy weekend takes, mate?
Yeah, what have we got?
Got your sound grab ready to go?
Yeah, chuck it up on there, mate.
Let's go. Oh, Mitch has done it again. Mitch has done it again with the sound grab.
Spicy takes. Why don't you lead us off with your first?
No, you're going first, mate. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my first spicy take, which is contradictory to my Ball Boys, Big Boys, and my trades this week is that Dacos goes under 80 this week.
Well,
I think he gets clamped, and by clamped, I mean he goes 79.
Well, if your spicy take gets up, my spicy take is I won't be here Monday.
Oh, no.
This seat will be empty, so you're going to have to move into a more central position because if Dacos goes under 80, then
I'm still trading him in because I think he's going to be great for the rest of the season.
I'm signing off for the rest of the year. The Ox shorts will be folded. They'll be looking for a new coach.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So I hate your first spicy take.
Oh,
Your second one
crossed,
better be.
I'm wrong. So.
Yeah, your second spicy take better be.
I was
better,
wrong
mate.
on the Dawson VC, so hopefully I'm wrong here.
Oh, yeah, here's hoping. What's your second spicy take, mate?
Well, it's kind of along the similar sort of lines. I think 3 rucks this round in English, Darcy, and Marshall. All of them go over 120. And we're all going to be pretty happy with our ruck division after this round.
I think that's almost a mild take.
It's not that hot, is it? They've all got great money.
That's
120.
It's like lemon and herb. Nando. I mean, I like lemon and herb. But
Has Marshall gone 120 yet? Has Marshall gone 120 yet?
I
I don't mind lemon and herb. He's a top score of 116.
you're a sicko. You get barbecue, don't you?
Yeah, barbecue's the best.
But why would you get
Nando's?
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good as.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
Don't hate it till you try it, mate.
Yeah, I should probably try it.
Yeah, give it a go.
Why are we both wearing green shirts too? What the fuck?
Oh, I'm
happened
representing the Celtics. It's playoffs next week, mate. So I'm representing. I don't know what you're doing. You're representing too, clearly.
I got the $5 Kmart tee. You've even managed to get your Celtics mug in the shots as well.
We're all about the Celtics playoff merch,
mate.
At the moment.
All over it.
All right, what are your hot takes, mate?
My first spicy take is I reckon. Hold on to your hat. I reckon Jordan Dawson goes 90 plus in the first half.
90 plus.
What do you reckon?
Jeez, that'd be the biggest first half we've seen.
That's a spicy. If that comes true, mate, dead set. I'm a prophet.
So you'd be trading him in then if that's your hot take.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll bring him in because 90 plus would just be obscene. So, no, but
good one.
Thanks, mate. No, dead set. Spicy take. And this is probably more of a hopeful take than a spicy take.
Gone fishing here.
Tom Stewart outscores Dawson. There it is. Who are they playing?
Should have spat my beer out there. West Coast.
They're playing West. Well, the ball will be down there heaps, won't it, Mitch?
No, what'll happen is he'll do the reverse. He'll have 90 in the second half when they're waxing and they're just chipping it around. We've locked this game up.
Yeah, a bit of game sim,
yeah,
practice.
just chip it around.
Like
he'll
I said,
do the reverse.
it's a hopeful take more than a spicy take.
Yep.
If Stewart and Dacos go sub-80s,
see you later.
It's over.
The
Don't worry
dream's
about
done.
it. It's all over.
All right. Well, if you guys have any spicy takes, some hot takes, drop it in the comments now, and we'll get some really good ones.
Should we have a look at the comments?
We'll shout them out. Yeah. Let's move on into some questions here. I think we've got a few from Twitter as well that maybe we'll look at, but let's start maybe with the YouTube
with the live
comments and everyone out there. But if you
someone said, "Where's your hat gone?" Where is your hat? Oh, your hat's still there.
It's just there. It's just behind my
his
big head. So still representing 124. What else have we got here in the comments? Constable Day out first. Thinking Day to LDU or Constable to Wagner. Look, I think you're going Day out first. 2 weeks is a lot to hold, and if you can't make an upgrade from Constable, like if you could go Constable to Stewart, which I think
that's what I'm doing. Yeah,
I would do that.
Yeah,
but if you're doing a Constable to a Wagner, I think that you're leaving too many points out there, and the cash in for Wagner this week is not going to be all that great anyway. So I'd get the points on field.
No, I agree. How about this poor bloke? My year sucks. Stewart, Jerry, Jelly, Steele, LDU, Day, Doc, Baz.
Oh no, I'm sorry, mate.
Tools down. Throw it in.
Trades are locked in this week, so stuck with Baz, and he's been confirmed out 2 weeks now as well by the coach. Yeah. So yes, not good. I'd be if you have the choice, I'd be trading Baz before Day personally, because Day was looking like a winner. He's looking like a good pick. He's got less price. Bailey Smith has got more money on his head. He wasn't looking like a great pick anyway. So I'd be moving on. Doherty priority 1, Day. Baz priority 2, Day.
Yeah, I would agree with that train of thought.
Yes.
How about this one? Backed Sheasel last week as captain. That's ballsy as they come.
As this guy did the C, I'd be very, very impressed.
Yeah. So is he an option this week? Mitch kind of just went through his captains.
You could put a VC on him.
You cited the wet weather.
I just think that there's better options like an English and Marshall this week, and I'm not in the business of just doing like a risky VC like that in the hopes that it comes off.
Yeah, just for the sake of it, go more strategic.
Yeah, I think that when there's such good options, I go that way.
Agree with that. Tigers have any chance tonight?
Who are we versing?
Sydney.
in Adelaide.
Who are we versing?
Yeah.
You a real Tigers fan, mate?
I've been focusing on my trades, mate.
You've been focusing on your big boys.
My big boys.
Loves his big boys.
Yeah, we're a chance. What are you talking about?
Always a chance.
Yeah.
Always a chance.
Yeah. Dusty's playing.
I think interestingly, I actually think it hurts us that Buddy Franklin's out.
You did mention
because
that. You reckon they play better without him?
I think Sydney are a better team without him at the moment, just in terms
Share
of...
it around a bit more.
Yeah, and just
bit less predictable.
That's it. That's exactly right. Less predictable. So
they're a good side, and they had a tough loss last week, so they're going to be up and about. So, look, I think we're short on the odds, but we've got a chance.
Yeah. What do you reckon about bringing in Rivers for Day?
I can't get on the Rivers.
You're not a Rivers
train. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you'd end up the creek without a river.
Oh no! Please try
that's how it goes. Up the river without a paddle. That's the one.
There you go.
That's a new saying.
That is the new saying.
Up the creek without a river.
Yeah. So just last week he scored 104, but the weeks before that 78, 65, 594k is actually not that cheap. It's only 130k more to get to Stewart. I think. Yeah, I wouldn't be going to Rivers. I think that you've missed the boat on that.
Nice. Interesting. We've got another comment here. It's actually lacking punctuation, which is unlike her, but Ellie from downstairs.
Oh, we've spotted her.
We've spotted her. So Mitch's girlfriend, Ellie, and my sisters jumped on and said, what's our beef with Libba? What is our beef with Libba, Mitch? Why
Just
can't
hate guys with tats, I reckon.
You're threatened by him, hey, because Ellie loves
mustaches.
him.
I hate guys with mustaches.
Yeah, mustaches, they're the worst, hey.
Yeah.
You can't trust a
Filthy.
bloke with a mustache.
No, but look, he's just too inside. But look,
she'll be thrilled that we looked at her comment.
Proving us wrong at the moment. But yeah, he's been a good pick for those who started at him, but he's just too expensive now.
Yeah, there's a few people getting around Libba in the comments, and absolutely.
Did I see a Celtics out in 4, Alex? I'm sorry, mate, but
Celtics out in 4.
You're no longer welcome here.
I reckon Celtics out in 4. You have to do the podcast with your shirt off.
Shirt off?
Because
what is this?
Boston, I reckon. Oh, new subscriber.
There you go. Oh.
Cool. Well, some sort of punishment. What do you think? Celtics out in 4 and
whatever you want. It's not happening. I'll do a shoey. Whatever it is. I don't care.
Okay.
It's not happening, mate.
Celtics.
We're going all the way.
Those Hawks, mate. Trae Young.
Trae Young. I'm not scared of no Trae Young.
Lockie Weller or Stocker for Day?
No. Lockie Weller out of the two. Stocker, no.
Yeah.
How much is Lockie Weller? What is he? I feel like he's not, again... And maybe these are people who don't have, that already have a Tom Stewart, but Lockie Weller is only 9,000 cheaper than a Tom Stewart. If you don't have Tom Stewart, you're 100% going there. I know he's the popular choice, but sometimes vanilla is fine. It makes sense.
Especially when this kind of crisis is happening, you don't want to reach at something outlandish because you're being forced to reach there.
Yeah. Just play the straight bat.
Yeah.
Like Lockie Weller, he's less than 10 months or 11 months returning from an ACL. Rico. So I think that I just don't trust him.
Yeah. Someone else on the Celts train there. Celts to win it all, I reckon.
Oi! Well, who said that? Well, you're in.
Andrew,
yes. Well, Andrew, you're welcome here anytime. Good tipping.
Thoughts on Setterfield being named on the bench? I think he's good.
I wouldn't read in too much into it. I never read into where their names. Coaches just make that shit up all the time. Do you remember there was I think it might have been a couple of years ago, but the Bulldogs went completely just fuck you to everyone and put Caleb Daniel in the forward pocket and Bont at
the
defense and just everyone was in the wrong positions just to stuff with everyone.
That sounds like a Bevo thing.
Those things mean absolutely nothing. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Someone asking about Duncan. We didn't actually mention Duncan, so maybe we mention Mitch Duncan.
Yeah. So
you hate him because he's old, don't you?
Well, yeah, but then again, I've got Jack Zeeble in my side at the moment, but I just don't see the upside in where he's priced at. So he is priced currently, I think he's more expensive than... Is he more expensive than Dawson?
He could easily out-average Stewart this year, but if he stays healthy, he's not rested.
But the thing is, he played 19 games last year.
Yeah.
Had the role that he's got right now.
What did he average?
And he averaged 93.
Yeah.
He had some big games in there. He had a game against the Giants in a win, and he scored 124 points. The next week, he backs up with an 86, 76, 84.
Yeah, so he has that ceiling there, but he can also be inconsistent, can't he?
Yeah, I just don't think that it's the Mitch Duncan where we automatically pencil him in for 100 plus. I think that of the two guys that are the distributors back there, Tom Stewart's the main dude. He takes most of the kick-ins as well. and I trust his body a little bit more. Plus, he's more value. I know I keep reverting back to Stewart, but I just don't see the need to go to a Mitch Duncan at 840k. If he was 740k, then I would definitely consider it.
So it's more of a price thing for you.
Yeah, you can get guys pretty close to that. Like, I'd much rather Sinclair, who's 20k more. I think he's just more reliable.
What have we got?
This man is ranked at 2,700 with Draper as R2.
The power of the mullet. That's impressive, hey?
Hats off to you.
But you're still...
sir.
And that means you're likely in a position where you can turn Draper into English in some way, shape or form. You're in
hard. It'd be a lot of money.
Yeah, but you're in a nice, solid position. Like, you could probably work that. Or would you just be sticking it out if you're doing well and just... getting everything else
I'd
done
be trying
first?
to get off Draper pretty quickly. I don't know if this is the round to do it because of all the carnage going around, but yeah. Well, first of all, just hats off to this mate because that's
well
very,
done.
very impressive.
Yes, sir. Is the YouTube handle there?
Nice. Hold 367k for next week when day to Siebel for DPP and Dr. Stewart. I tick that off. 367k. It's fine based on those moves, in my opinion, because you're getting two guys in here that close enough to premium, so you should be able to make a big upgrade. I'm okay with holding cash this time of year because it's hard to get those rookies up to premiums because they haven't quite fattened completely.
Yeah.
But with that kind of bank, you can definitely do that with a one down, one up next week. So that's fine in my opinion.
Someone else has also noticed that all the good defenders start with D and then S as well. Stewart, Sheasel, Sinclair, Sicily. Yeah, true.
Dacos, Dawson. Yeah, everyone. Doherty.
Yeah, don't bother showing up in defence if your name doesn't start with a D or an S.
Hayden Young.
Well,
mate, that's where we went wrong.
It just exemplifies
DOS.
exactly what we're talking about.
What were we thinking?
That was stupidity on our...
Yeah.
Is he on tonight?
He is on. Yeah, he's
so
on an
we're
hour
gonna
and a
have
half.
to.
So
we're gonna have to watch.
We'll have to sit through that again.
Are we gonna do it? We're obviously gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. We're sickos.
We are suckers for punishment. Hey, why did we pick Hayden?
Hey, Gold Coast.
No, but I reminded you of this last night. But I actually didn't pick Hayden Young to start the year. So I literally
had the Jerry.
I literally had Dawson in my team, and then once Jerry went down, because it was round one, you could still be flexible.
Yes.
I thought, I'm going to need cash for the upgrade next week, and I went Dawson to fucking Hayden Young. And it worked well the first week. I was like, I'm a genius. 118. I'm a genius.
Oh, sliding doors moment.
Mate, there's been
sliding Dawson moment.
No. Those sliding doors have been decapitating me, mate.
Yeah,
this year.
and that's it with fantasy. Hey, like you can make what seems like a good decision in 1 week and seems like a decision after another week. Like, and this is what I was saying before with Dawson, right? So Hayden Young comes out and scores 118. Dawson scores 133 this week. You feel like you've missed a golden opportunity, and you might have, but things can change very quickly in fantasy. So, yes.
Agreed.
Let's do a couple more and then we'll sign out and let these guys get over to Fantasy Fanatics.
David Wagner to cover day. We sort of talked about that before, didn't we? Wagner covering day. Are you willing to field?
I don't mind that because it's Davey to Wagner. It's not like
day to
so
Wagner.
You're fixing up a rookie instead. If you're holding, I hope this person doesn't have their holding day. Is that what they're?
Yeah, they must be. Yeah, so she's down. Back next week, gives me 300k for next week to upgrade Hollins to a primo.
I'm hesitant to hold Will Day for 2 weeks unless you're doing an upgrade. If you're doing an upgrade this week, then I'm okay with it because you've got the same amount of premiums on the field as you would otherwise. But if you're not doing an upgrade and you're just down a premium, I think you're probably giving up too many points to those of us that are going to be switching over, and you're going to have to play catch up. And chances are when Day comes back, a lot of us, he's going to be cheap, so a lot of us might just jump back on straight away. Look, I know you'll be making other moves, but I think if you're not making an upgrade, now that it's confirmed 2 weeks,
trade him out.
I'm trading him out, yeah.
Beautiful. Someone, Mitch here said, love your work. Thank you.
On you, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch. Who would you VC in the wet, Miller, Brayshaw, or Darcy? I think Brayshaw was your highest.
Brayshaw was my highest, yes. Yeah. Up against Gold Coast, they give up the equal most against midfielders. I don't think Gold Coast have anyone that's going to tag, so Brayshaw should go big. He can tackle as well. So
this next question, I think I'm taking Hollins 49 instead of fielding Philippou. I know Philippou went 66 last week.
Against the Pies, toughest teams to score against. I agree.
And there's something about banked points, isn't there? 49. Let's say Philippou pulls out another 30. I think he had a 30
You're risking 49 points for Philippou to go 55. You make 6 points.
Yeah, exactly.
And to risk him being injured in the first quarter or first half,
Yeah.
I think it's not worth it. And again, you're going up against Collingwood, who are tough.
Okay,
Let's
so
do one more.
Yeah, one more from Kenneth. Kenneth said, "Are we either going day to Sarong or day to Rivers and bank the cash?"
Day
I
to
kind of like
Sarong.
day to Sarong, but it could put you in a weird situation next week with no cash.
No, I still
do
go
you
day
think?
to Sarong.
Yeah.
I think again, I'm just not on the Rivers train.
Yeah, say my
Sarong,
Rivers,
you've got the premium there.
Do my Rivers gag.
No.
Do it. It's good.
It was as good as it was going to get at the time, mate.
I'm hanging on to it. I'm going to weave it in next week.
I'd go Sarong. Just bank that in. He's got a great matchup this week. Gold Coast are giving up a lot of points, and he still is probably underpriced on what he's going to do. I think he could be close enough to those sort of top 8 kind of mids. So I'd go that way.
We have to shout out this last comment. Have a
All
read
right,
of that.
Have a good one. Watching from Finland. Thanks for choosing my Big Boys segment. Oh, Grant! Oh,
It was Grant.
Shout out to you, Grant. Yes. And
he's watching
Grant,
from Finland. Thank you, Grant. Much appreciated,
I
mate.
was in Finland in December, actually. It's a very nice country.
Traveller.
Cultured over here. Quite cold, though, I will say that. But beautiful country.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you, Grant, and thank you for the segment. Let's play this for Grant.
And we know how much Mitch loves his big boys.
Yeah, well, hopefully Tim English can stand up and be the biggest of boys this weekend. And, yeah, we'll sign off there, hey?
We're signing off. We got to go prepare to watch Hayden Young. It's a big I got to mentally get myself ready to watch him just hate the football.
Get the tissues out, and not the good kind of tissues.
Oh, not
the
the
crying tissues.
I know you love getting the tissues out.
The chocolates,
putting your
get
big boys
everything.
together.
But thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, give the video a big thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Thank you again for everyone who has subscribed so far. Hope all your captains go big and your trades work out, and hopefully no more carnage for the rest of the round.
Fingers crossed.
And we're going to do some upgrades next week, and we can officially introduce upgrade season next week. But thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Laters.